We waited for the ER doctor, and I felt like a caged animal. And I watched the doorknob twist, and I knew in the next seconds that my life was going to implode. From that moment on, I am a completely different person. My 15-year-old son walked out of our house and out of our lives. He asked to walk to his best friend's house, which was our neighbor. And unbeknownst to my husband and I, the father, the gun owner, stored 3 handguns and ammunition in a shoebox. And unfortunately, the day my son went over, he was shot in the head and he was killed and had 0 chance of survival. And I got into this movement after I realized that the gun owner, the negligent gun owner, was not going to be charged, and instead the prosecutor was going to go after the 14-year-old child. It is the job and the responsibility of the person who brings the deadly weapon into their home to make sure that it is secured.
Just after 2 o'clock that day, I get a call from my son on the phone telling me that there's a shooting at the school. Literally on the phone with my son pleading for him to run when we hear more gunshots. And those were the gunshots on the 3rd floor that were killing my daughter. It is the reason, it's that sound in my head. It's knowing my daughter ran down the hallway from an active shooter and took a single shot to her spinal cord, made it within 1 second of her life. It is the reason I can't stop. It is the reason I fight to reduce gun violence today. It is the reason I'm here.
I will continue to call Kevin L. Cooper's name across this nation as a whole, along with other families who have lost their children through the hands of law enforcement unjustly in America. That officer that came into our home 9:30 a.m. in the morning became the judge, the jury, and the executioner of my 14-year-old's life. I have turned my pain into purpose. I have turned my pain into a movement. That's what keeps me, that's what motivates me to not only for myself, but for others, for other families. And these are things that we should consider and think about those victims, those families, those survivors who are left behind.
As we were talking and laughing, we heard a bang. Another bang came and I found myself on the ground. It wasn't until I made it to the hospital that I found out I was shot with a .45 caliber ghost gun. And later that night, after multiple different procedures, I found out that my best friend was killed. I realized really quickly that sitting in bed crying is going to give me the same amount of closure and comfort that fighting and advocating to stop this is going to give me too. So why wouldn't I go out and rally and fight?
I survived a mass shooting. I was at a Gabrielle Giffords event. I had been her congressional page the year before. Out of nowhere, I heard what I thought were fireworks. It turned out that they were gunshots. Since that moment, I have known that something in this country has to change. And I have spent a lot of time and effort fighting gun violence and the epidemic that it is in this country. My message to people who are hesitant to get involved, who think, oh, that's an important issue, but it couldn't possibly happen here, is that it could. And that should scare you. And usually we run away from scary things. In this case, the scary thing needs to empower us. It needs to spur on our action.
I fight to end gun violence because gun violence ripped my body and my family apart. I was shot 3 times protecting my then 17-year-old daughter. His intent with that bullet was to kill me, but it didn't. After that, I live on bonus time. When you live in bonus time, you need to be very, very deliberate about what choices you make every single day of what you're going to do with your time, your talent, your energy. I'm so grateful to serve our country by elevating this issue into consciousness.